excited to have with me Miss Shawna Coronado. Welcome to the show.
Hello,
Hey girl,
everybody.
how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. So tell us about, hold on one second, listen to this. It's going to have the little applause. Woo! All right, so listen, before we even get into who you are, tell us what happened about 20 minutes ago at your house there in Chicago.
So I'm all ready for you. I got the whole thing set up. I'm gonna Google with you, girl. And what happens is the FBI rings my doorbell.
It's always something.
And they want to do a security check on like one of my neighbors. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go. I have to be on the radio, And he's like, so I answered like 45 questions in less than 5 minutes. It was awesome.
Did you ask him if he wanted to come on air with us?
I should have. He was quite good looking.
Oh, see, we love that kind of like had hunky guest star kind of thing. I love it. All right, so I met you about 4 months ago at TEDx Crestmore. It was amazing. You blew me away. I posted your link on my YouTube today so people could see it. Talking about making a change and just standing out in your community, even when you were called what you say the guerrilla warfare,
the guerrilla gardener.
The guerrilla gardener.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell us about you and how you got to what you're doing today and what you do with your fabulous business.
Okay. So here's how it all started. I worked in marketing and sales for 15 years.
Yep.
And one day I had a magnificent fight with my boss and said, this is the end. I can no longer take that environment. And you know what I mean? That whole business, it's eating me alive, that sort of thing.
Soul-sucking.
Yeah, soul-sucking. And so at the time, I was writing as a hobby in my spare non-70 hours a week time a newspaper column on gardening just because I enjoyed gardening, and I was gardening with all my neighbors, and it just made total sense that I would be doing this. And so when I walked off the job, I was very, very ill. I took over a dozen prescriptions a day.
Wow.
And I started spending more time outdoors in nature, and I created my own landscape and design firm where I spent really the entire year, designing, gardening, and being outdoors. Well, a miracle happened. The miracle is that I realized even with all the allergies that I have to everything outdoors, being outdoors all the time was like a life send. I mean, I just felt so much better. Now I take 2 prescriptions when it's allergy season, but really I'm down to 1 prescription.
That's amazing.
It was a life-changing experience. So I decided to write a book. Here's the book. Are you ready? It looks naughty.
Blessed it.
It's called Gardening Nude. It looks really naughty, but
there's such a hot number. I can't even take it. I love it.
It's not about nudity or gardening. It was about my experience of discovering green lifestyle living.
Wow.
And I went out behind the fence. I started creating a public garden on community property, and really connected with my neighbors in the world. And now I have dozens of gardens and a front lawn vegetable garden, and my message is about social good and about getting people to change their communities, believe in community, and make a difference for the people around them. So how
that started with that one little spot in the back of your house.
It did start there, and when I started writing the book was when I started that particular garden. And when I finished the book, I was done with the garden. I was done with prescriptions. I felt like $1,000,000, and so it had truly changed my life. And so a friend of mine's like, well, you got the book, now you have to market the dang thing. And that's a whole, if anyone's ever been involved with publishing, it is a story. It's, no publishing company is going to help you do this. It is about getting off your hind end and getting out there and working hard. And so at a local Starbucks, a friend of mine said, what you have to do is that Twitter thing. And my response was,
Twitter thing.
That Twitter thing. I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm not no way I'm doing Twitter. Twitter's crazy. It's for crazy.
As I like to say, I call it Twitter what?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I've been marketing for 15 years. I know my stuff. Well, the next week I started Twittering, and now I have 15,000 fans just underneath that. And I'm really a social media addict. If I could have a chip in my head permanently, so I can get all this done faster, it would be there. I'm that addicted. And
I call that a social media hooker, because that's what I am too.
Downright.
I say it proudly.
I am there. But it started out slowly, you know, sink or swim. You know, I learned as there was no book on social media at that time. There was nothing on social media, so I had to figure it out for myself. And, you know, I consulted with a few, you know, experts, but generally speaking, it was, you know, failure or winning, and I failed over and over and over. So then I figured out, you know, what's the formula from a business perspective. And, you know, here I am, I'm really a small business that has quite a lot of success utilizing social media, but it didn't happen overnight. It was definitely a build, you know, to get to this point.
Sure. Like a trial and error type of thing too, of what's working and what's posting and who's engaging with what.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, the best advice I ever got came from Chris Brogan. And, you know, not that I'm not calling one social media guru over another one, because I love them all, believe me. But he came into Chicago, and I'm like, dude, would you like hang out with me and give me your best advice? Because I was like really young in the social media world. And he had coffee with me. He's like, oh God, you know, another one of these. But he did. He sat down with me, and it was an amazing experience for me, because in 2 sentences, he totally changed my life. Here's what he said. He said, listen, everybody blogs, everybody.
Yeah.
He's like,
boring.
What's making you stand out from everybody else? He's like, you don't have anything that's making. I'm like, oh crap. He's like, here's what makes you stand out. You're passionate, and on camera, you would be brilliant. He's like, so get off your ass, get over yourself, get out there, and go video. And
I'm like this, like, what else? What else?
Oh my God. And totally, my response was, I'm like, and then when he said that, I'm like, oh my God. You know, I can't video. That's the last thing I want to do. That's hard. You know, he's like, oh, please, you know, you can do this. You've got to do this. So we ended the meeting. I mean, it was like, you know, a few minutes of time with him, and I'm like, okay, see ya. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
A week passed, and I realized brilliant advice. It was really good advice, and he was kind of harsh with me. I needed a kick in the pants. I really, it was like an editor, you know, who really editors rip apart your book and make you cry, but it's good for you, you know. Yeah. I needed this spanking.
It's a necessary evil, but it's painful at the time. But it sounds like it really worked for you, and he sounds amazing. What did he say to you?
Oh my God. I mean, you know, after that, he didn't really say much. I went to work. You know, my first videos were really horrid, and they are still online. I've left them up, and
you're so proud. I love that. Like, talk about like just letting yourself be out loud and proud of like, this is the, and I have a feeling this one's going to be that way for me, because I'm still trying to figure out all this stuff over here. But yeah, let it roll, right?
Exactly. And you get out there, and you're naked in front of the world, and it is what it is. And mistakes and all, I keep it all out there. Well, now I have 170 videos and over 500,000 views. So, you know, I think that the advice that I got, blunt as it was probably the best advice I've ever had. So now, after, you know, many years of being on camera all the time and, you know, really comfortable, my job is, first, I'm a professional writer, so I blog full-time, I write full-time.
Right. And
then the next level of that is a professional speaker. I feel very comfortable on stage and speaking, and you saw me at 10.
Yes, I'm going to shout that out 195%. And I put your video on YouTube. Just watching it again was amazing. So he was right. It's about personality. When you want to find your niche to get your message, it could either be in writing or, you know, like you and I, you got to get us live and in person.
Yeah, I need to be in person. And so then the next thing became, you know, how do I make money? You know, we're all, as small businesses, trying to formulate that and figure out what it takes to make money. And here's the answer to that. It is, I'm a spokesperson. So companies hire me to represent them. I tour around the United States speaking for garden centers and also green lifestyle and culinary, you know, anything that would be under my category. And in each city that I go to, I also appear on television. And so I make like a local news show, you know, appearance on behalf of the corporation that I'm representing. We don't talk about the corporation. We talk about me.
Right.
We talk about
you're the face of it. They're all excited.
Yeah, and what I'm doing and how to do it, and it's been an amazing journey. I never, by the way, never expected way back when I quit. No, you're fired. No, I quit. I never imagined that I would end up doing what I do, and now I work way over 70 hours a week.
Doing what you love, though, right?
It's the best job ever.
Yeah, it's doing what you love, and I mean, and that is the thing too. So talk about that. We're all in that as entrepreneurs in that position too, of just kind of getting out on your own. I know, I mentioned I was on a radio show 2 weeks ago, but it was women based, and I just went, man, that's not my niche. I need to be able to talk to everyone in the community. I'm unisex. So same
you
thing.
You don't look unisex. I'm just telling you right now.
No, that's hermaphrodite. Right? So, but I mean, it's like going out and just pushing it. And I know you mentioned like you got some pushback. You got some grief from people when you try to break into this world that you're in now.
I absolutely did. And just a few examples. I went to first of all, if you ever write a book or have somebody edit your blog, it is horrifying. And I totally cried, and it was
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same for other things. I went to conventions of garden writers and writing conventions, and all these snooty old ladies told me, you have no degree in journalism, you have no degree in horticulture, you, my friend, are going nowhere. And they were just mean to my face, and I went home going, God, how...
That's when you say, can you just talk behind my back, please? I would prefer you talk behind my back, right?
Yeah, it was. But you know what? If you can't handle that, you can't handle it in this industry. This is
absolutely.
People are harsh.
Yeah.
There are trolls.
Right.
There are people that are going to get you. No matter how good you are at what you do, and so as long as you're towing the line and you're doing positive work, then the trolls are limited. But you're always going to, whenever you're in a public eye, and social media is really that, you're going to get criticism. And so you can either crawl in a hole and die, or you can be a tough business person and go to the next challenge. And that's how I see it as, you have to ignore the negatives, and when it's helpful criticism, it's well worth listening to. So I try.
That's who you want to listen to, for sure. That's the people that you want to hear from, and the rest of it just go, that's what happens when you're really pushing your purpose and living your purpose.
Oh, I'm too old to do this. I'm too short to do this. I'm too tall to do this. I'm too ugly.
I'm too tired.
It's everything,
It's always something. Absolutely. Yeah.
I say ignore it, go out there and kick ass and take names.
Yes.
And find a niche for yourself.
Why do you think I wanted you to be my first guest? Because I knew you would just blow it out of the water. I love your energy. It's so much fun. Which, by the way, I just have to clarify, this is water in my wine glass.
Dang it.
I know. I'm two-fisting.
We're going to have to do cocktails later.
Yeah, actually, that's going to be our next interview. We can do PJJ and cocktails, and then it'll really be on and popping.
I'm ripping, because of this, I have limited space where I garden and what I do,
Right.
And so this year I'm taking out a whole section of my garden and I'm putting in an herbal garden that is really a cocktail garden. That's going to be the whole idea. So we'll be filming how to make cocktails later in the season. You are going to have to be a part of that.
Oh, I'm so on. I will wear a party dress. I will do whatever you want. We'll probably even get Bob Voss over here. He would be on for that, hands down, for sure. All right, so let's do a bat crap crazy moment. That's going to be the one feature of my show where I want my guests to talk about who they are bat crap crazy about, either in business or social media or something like that. So go. Who you loving?
Okay. One of my absolute favorite people is that's online is Jeff Kinney Pulver. If anyone knows Jeffrey Pulver, he's the founder of the 140 conferences. I actually spoke at one of the 140 comps. Here's the thing that's interesting about State of Now and the 140 conferences. There were several people that were a part of it that I didn't expect. He doesn't just have social media experts that come in and speak about social media. And you'll notice if you go to the social media conferences, it's like we're all preaching to the choir.
Sure.
You know, we're all the same people talking about social media. I get invited to speak about social media all the time.
It's like Trekkies for social media.
Totally. And who we want to see is this like variety of people that are inspiring, that offer, you know, something different and more. And I like the, you know, the 140 conferences. I think it's like under 5 minutes typically that somebody gets to speak, and they have a lot of local wonderful people. I went to Iowa when I spoke and met Jeff and Jeff Pulver's. The group of people that were there were like farmers. I love them. They were incredibly inspiring and talked about business in a different way. I loved it. So I highly recommend following Jeff and then checking out the 140 conferences. You can see them on YouTube all over. So
and we'll post that on underneath this link for YouTube with all these different people that are definitely this one you're talking about, because I haven't heard of that. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, it's hashtag 140conf, C-O-N-F.
Love it.
And some of the people are just astounding. It's just really neat.
What's your next great thing you're going to be doing? I know it's kind of the dormant time. Spring's coming in a couple weeks.
I know. I've been working. Okay, I've got several different things. I am on a spring tour, so March through April, I'll be spokespersoning all over the nation. My first stop is this weekend. I'm going to Long Island, New York. I know it's snowy, cold. I want to go to Hawaii. I don't know why they won't send me there. You know.
Right. That's awesome.
I know, but so the spring tour is big because you know, I can get out and really talk to my peeps and meet them in person. Then this summer I start. I continue with my series. One of the things I want to do is, like this interview, have interviews of people that are really influencers who are making a difference in the world. And so I'm calling it the Make a Diff Show, where I go out and I interview interesting people that are really exciting. But I'm talking about, my first interview was Chris Brogan, but we talked about green lifestyle living. We didn't talk about what he normally talks about. And people want to know, you know, what are the movie stars talking about? Are they really organic, or are they feeding you a line, you know? So it's about trying to get good ideas for living green. And then after that, I'll be filming the rest of the summer because of all the garden and the cocktails and everything.
Drinking wine for Shawna, I love that. That was in your video, the TEDx about that. Everybody was really taking one for the team. Get you all the glass you had it. And I have to tell you, that was the inspiration when I first decided to start this. It's the same thing. It's talking to people that are just outstanding in their industry and then making a difference. And I know we were talking about this too. I mean, I get so many people that come into my pathway, I can't even take all the inspiration. So why not just shout them out, right? And talk about all the fun stuff they're doing.
Exactly. It's a great share. And the other thing is I mean, if you are trying to build your business on social media, utilize it. Social media is my only tool that I use.
Seriously?
Yes.
I believe it, because you're just viral.
$24 a month, my friend. That's it to run my business.
Bargain price.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about, you know, connect. So the more people that you share and are social with, the more people you interview, you know, they're going to share you as well. It's a smart way to expand your business. And here's the thing. So you don't want to be in that preach to the choir, you know, genre.
Yes, the 80-20.
Cross target. Go meet culinary people. Go meet gardening people. Go meet bookies, you know, foodies, whoever, and interview them just like you would, you know, a social media person. You know, it's that cross target that pulls in new customers for all of us. It's awesome.
And I love it because it makes you look like, it's not all about me, or pushing your message. And that's such a kind of cardinal rule with social media anyway, is that sort of 80-20. Because if you're just tooting your horn all the time, let me see if I can do a horn toot while we're at it.
Aww.
That was kind of fun. That was a sad one. I know there's another one in there. There's also this one I like. Hold on. Right? It's not going over. That's what it sounds like. It's crickets chirping if you just keep talking about yourself. So when you are going out there and promote it in the way, if you're really promoting yourself, if you're just interested in other people, because they're, you know, it's all a community. We've got something going on. There's enough out there to promote everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love it. Funnest job ever.
Right, and that is what I love about you. You've made this into business. You've worked really hard at it. Like you said, I mean, you got the message, but you went out there and made sure everybody was hearing. So I love it.
7 days a week, baby. You have to work hard to make it happen. And it's
you do. And Lucy wants to be on the show, by the way. Voss has decided that look at her.
Hello.
Oh.
Hi, kitty.
It's all about Bob. You guys can friend him at Bob Voss on Facebook, by the way, if anybody wants to.
Bob Voss is my new best friend.
He is your new BC.
He's not the grumpy cat, but he doesn't really have a lot of smiling happening there.
Oh, he'll bust it out on you, trust me. Like I said, he's going to say something spicy on your Facebook, and it's probably going to include the words hot piece of ass.
Okay, I like that.
All right, tell all of our fun fans how to find you, because I know it's on the bottom, but tell us where to go.
Yep, right here, folks. Whoops, if I can get it. It is shawnacoronado.com, and from there, you can friend me on Facebook, you can find me on Twitter, you can Google Plus me, anything you would like. And,
yes,
and please leave comments and talk to me, because this is about sharing, and I want to have a great conversation out there.
Yes,
and
please.
Bob, look at you.
Yeah, Bob's probably going to chime in on that one too. So, well, thank you so much for being on our show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mia.
All right, guys. Everyone have a great week.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
All right, honey. All right, bye-bye. All right, so I met you about 4 months ago at TEDx Crestmore. It was amazing. You just, you blew me away. I posted your link on my YouTube today so people could see it. Talking about making a change and just standing out in your community, even when you were called what you say the guerrilla warfare, or the guerrilla gardener. The guerrilla gardener. Yeah. Yes. So tell us about you and how you got to what you're doing today and what you do with your fabulous business.
Okay. So here's how it all started. And it just made total sense that I would be doing this. And so when I walked off the job, I was very, very ill. I took over a dozen prescriptions a day.
Wow.
And I started, spending more time outdoors in nature, and I created my own landscape and design firm where I spent really the entire year, designing, gardening, and being outdoors. Well, a miracle happened. The miracle is that I realized, whole thing set up, I'm going to Google with you, girl, and what happens is the FBI rings my doorbell.
It's always something.
And they want to do a security check on, like, one of my neighbors. I'm like, dude, I'm going to go. I have to be on the radio, and he's like, so I answered, like, 45 questions in less than 5 minutes. It was awesome.
Did you ask him if he wanted to come on air with us?
I should have. He was quite good looking.
Oh, see, we love that kind of, like, had hunky guest star kind of thing. I love it.
I worked in marketing and sales for 15 years.
Yep.
And one day I had a magnificent fight with my boss and said, this is the end. I can no longer take that environment. And you know what I mean? That whole business, it's eating me alive, that sort of thing.
Soul-sucking.
Yeah, soul-sucking. And so at the time, I was writing as a hobby in my spare non-70 hours a week time, a newspaper column on gardening, just because I enjoyed gardening, and I was gardening with all my neighbors.
Excited to have with me Miss Shawna Coronado. Welcome to the show.
Hello,
hey girl,
everybody.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. So tell us about, hold on one second, listen to this. It's going to have the little applause. All right, so listen, before we even get into who you are, tell us what happened about 20 minutes ago at your house there in Chicago.
So I'm all ready for you. I got the whole